Yes, that's right. The DEI bubble has finally burst. Hello there, it's me, Nana Akua here, and today we're going to dive into a topic that's been causing quite a stir across the pond. We're about to witness the spectacular implosion of the woke agenda in corporate America. Yes, that's right. The DEI bubble has finally burst, and it's about time. And as you know, whatever happens there, the UK is sure to follow. Let's start with Walmart, shall we, and their wake-up call. The retail giant, well, they've just announced that they're ditching their diversity, equity and inclusion programs faster than you can say virtue signalling. And let me tell you, it's not just a little trim around the edges. They're going for a full-blown buzz cut, thank God. Now get this, Walmart is pulling chest binders and trans books for children off their shelves. What on earth were they doing selling these things in the first place? It's beyond me. Really? Was there ever an appropriate time or appropriate place to be selling these things? Is that appropriate for a supermarket? Next thing you know, they'll be selling hormone blockers in the pick and mix aisle. But wait, there's more. That $100 million that they were going to pump into that Centre for Racial Equality, it's gone. Vanished like common sense at a university campus. I actually think that ensuring racial equality is a good thing, but when it's wrapped up with an organisation that's happy to sell chest binders, sadly they all get bound into one, pardon the pun. And internally they're scrubbing the phrase DEI from company materials. Hallelujah! It's like they've finally realised that these seemingly innocent words have become more toxic than a radioactive waste dump. Now, a Walmart spokesperson had the audacity to say that we've been on a journey and know that we weren't perfect. Yes, a journey of wokery. I could have told them that for free. But at least they finally cottoned on to the fact that Americans are sick and tired of being force-fed this radical version of identity politics. Now, a lot of people tend to think that maybe all of this is down to Donald Trump's re-election. But let's get real. Donald Trump didn't create this wave. He's just surfing it like a pro. The American people had already decided that DEI had gone too far long before they put Donald Trump back in the White House. DEI is a non-starter. Remember that Bud Light ad with Dylan Mulvaney, who, amongst other things, promoted women's sports bras by Nike, despite being a flat-chested man? Well, Bud Light saw a slide in their market value. Billions were wiped off, and people across the US were burning Nike bras. That was well before Donald Trump started his campaign for another term in office. Just look at what's been happening. Harley Davidson, that bastion of American masculinity, ditched their DEI programs faster than a vegan at a barbecue. Boeing followed suit, probably realising that focusing on identity politics doesn't exactly help them keep the planes in the air, and is frankly totally irrelevant. Who cares what colour your pilot is or whether they are homo or heterosexual? Can they fly a plane? That's all that matters, not this DEI madness. What on earth were these virtue signalling companies thinking? It's hardly going to be good for their bottom line, excluding the majority of their customers by promoting this guff. Even the tech giants, those Silicon Valley types who usually lap up this woke nonsense, even they have been scaling back their DEI hires. It's like watching a bunch of teenagers suddenly realising their fashion choices were a bit embarrassing. We've all been there. And let's take for a moment time to appreciate the glimmer of hope that is in the world of higher education. The University of Austin, or UATX, as the cool kids are calling it, has decided to ditch DEI for something called MEI. That's merit, excellence and intelligence. Imagine that. A university actually focusing on academic achievement rather than playing identity bingo. The students at UATX are a diverse bunch. And I'm not talking about real diversity here. I'm talking diversity of thought. You've got everyone from far left Bernie Sanders supporters to people who make Donald Trump look like a liberal. And get this, they actually get along. It's almost as if treating people as individuals rather than representatives of identity groups leads to better understanding. Who would have thought it? One of the students Jacob Hornstein, said, "I've met people of every political persuasion here, from like far left Democrats who are for Bernie Sanders, or to the left of that even, to people who would make Donald Trump look like a liberal." Now that's what I call proper education. Exactly. Only the shallow make judgments based on external appearance. DEI is frankly a disaster. And brace yourself for this next bit. A new study has come out showing that DEI policies actually make people more hostile and prone to seeing racism where there isn't any. It's like these programs are creating the very problem that they claim to solve. But that's the thing. Most of us, the general public, knew that already. In this study, the researchers exposed people to either neutral text about corn or the ramblings of professional race baiters like Abraham X, Kendi and Robert DiAngelo. And guess what? The people who read the woke nonsense became more hostile and authoritarian. It's like feeding someone nothing but sugar and then wondering why they're bouncing off the walls. Joel Finkelstein, the chief science officer at NCRI and co-author of the study, said, "What we found is that when people are exposed to this ideology, what happens is they become hostile without any indication that anything racist has happened. Here's the thing. They don't want you to know that the DEI emperor has no clothes. Well, too bad, because Nana Akua is here to spill the beans." So what does all this mean? Well, it means that the great un-wokening of America is well and truly underway. Companies are realizing that pandering to a vocal minority of perpetually offended activists is bad for business. Universities are remembering that their job is to educate, not indoctrinate. And ordinary people are standing up and saying, enough is enough. And it's not just about Trump or Walmart or any single event. This is a cultural shift that's been brewing for years. People are sick and tired of being told that their race, gender or background determines how they should think or vote. They're fed up with being lectured about their language and heritage being inherently offensive. The rejection of this cultural progressivism, which is actually a step backwards, isn't an overnight phenomenon. It's been building up like a pressure cooker, and now the lid's blown off. Americans and Brits and other Western nations who bought into this tripe are sick of being pitted against each other, and they're demanding a return to the natural meanings of diversity and inclusion. Isn't it obvious that if you feed people claptrap or compartmentalise people that you cause segregation and division, which in turn results in unrest? Imagine thinking that the notion of having people divided in groups like LGBTQIA++ is a good idea, and that you just need to add another letter for any group that you've missed. It is the absolute epitome of exclusion. Why not just have people as people? Why do we need to be force-fed all these characteristics of others? What's the point? So there you have it. The woke bubble has well and truly burst. And it's about bloody time. Companies are ditching DEI, universities are rediscovering merit, and studies are exposing the dangers of this divisive ideology. It's a beautiful thing to watch, isn't it? Like seeing common sense make a comeback tour. So let's raise a glass to the death of DEI and the rebirth of good old-fashioned merit, excellence and intelligence. After all, isn't that what we should have been focusing on all along? This is Nana Akua signing off. Remember, stay sharp, stay sceptical, and for heaven's sake, stay unwoke.